What's good, everybody? It's your boy Tico on Blitz, back at it again with another video. And today we are back on World of Tanks console. I know it has been a little bit, as I haven't really made a video on console or have demonstrated live gameplay factors just yet, because I had to get a capture card. So now I am able to stream and record live gameplay on World of Tanks console, aka the more balanced variation of World of Tanks. And today, we are going to be reviewing this vehicle as a new season has dropped. This is the Tier 10 British Double Barrel Heavy, the FV225. You may already start to notice that this vehicle features two barrels on the vehicle. Yes, folks, it features a special mechanic to where you can either fire one shell at once and then fire the next one after, or there's a special option to where you can fire both shells at once, and that is where you can deal a combined amount to what is currently withholdable on your average damage output. To which, as we can see, the standard and premium damage is upwards of 350 in terms of its alpha. Which means if I were to fire both of the shells at once with that special double barrel mechanic, that is 800 damage combined. Like, that's absolutely insane to even think about. Very much able to outtrade the majority of those high calibered barrels as opposed from that. And in terms of the armor profile to what this vehicle has going for it, you can already start to notice that the turret is going to be the major strong point. Considering that red spots are basically non-penetrable spots, which is about a 50-50 if you load in your premiums, varying on if you have high amount of premium factors. But nonetheless, it's going to be a very hard hit for the majority of the turret. As you can see, the upper and lower infrastructures are in the yellow, which basically means that it can somewhat be overmatched by standard, but in order to not risk it, it's beneficial to run premium just in case. To which the upper and lower plates are going to have the same thickness of about 152 millimeters. There is a very troll spot that would occur that separates the upper and the lower infrastructures, to which if you're unfortunately enough to hit that spot, then you are surprisingly enough going to bounce. So yeah, that's not going to be a beneficial thing as apart from that. And of course, because it's a British vehicle, you would already note that the sides and the rear is going to be the most lackluster part. 60 millimeters, I mean, any forms of HE can just butter through this vehicle like absolutely nothing. And once we go ahead and take a look at some other stats, you can see to the left that the vehicle carries 8 degrees of gun depression. It can be quite flexible when poking over ridgelines, but it can be beneficial when having very good solid amounts of turret armor, which means you'll get a lot more occasional bounces here and there. And in terms of the reload time, it is only 7.05 seconds when relying on the two barrels, and it has a 1.8 second aiming time as well. Pretty solid in that aspect as well, carrying almost 3,000 damage per minute along the lines of that as well, which is quite crazy to even think about as opposed from that. So we're going to go ahead and hop on into a couple bits of games with this vehicle, see what we can do. We are already loaded on into the Arctic region. Should also say that the power to weight of this vehicle is actually quite nice too, and it does achieve a top speed of 49 kilometers per hour. Does feel pretty nice, especially for a vehicle amongst a large size in comparison to the majority of other British vehicles. Kind of like a 215B in that aspect, but except it's not a rear turret. It's basically a middle turret, which is kind of crazy. But the angle of the upper plate is where the gun depression factors can exceed the further limits. So let's see what they would have in terms of their heavies. And Andre the Giant, which is basically a skinned M4 MLE54 with the 500 alpha gun. They have a 4502B, an SD1, and that looks to be all they have in terms of their heavies. They have a Centurion Aber. Of course, the frickin' Centurion 7.1 with a frickin' howitzer on it. So we're going to kind of see how we can fare well. So here we go. We're going to be moseying our way. Okay, teammate, you did not have to run into me in that aspect. We're going to head on over to the right side. Arctic region is a map to where a lot of people like to kind of sit back and then just rely on just taking care of a simple flank, because of the fact that any vehicles, even tank destroyers, have the same camo factors as opposed to that, which means that anybody can be outspotted in the back of the map. And yeah, pretty much just a similar outcome in terms of what this game has to go for it. But let's see what we can do. We already got a tree knocked down over to the side right over here, so we're going to kind of stay put right here and see what's going to plop on out as opposed to that. So we got that 4202 already spotted. We did end up getting spotted ourselves. but the enemies are currently not looking at us at the moment, which is nice. We got that 4202 off to the side. Looks like I'm going to have to load in my premium, but the unfortunate part is that since this is an auto-loader, it's going to have to be the case to where I'm going to have to reload my full clip once again. But there's a special consumable to where you can swap your ammo freely without having to load once again. Which is kind of unfortunate because it would basically only account for auto-loaders only. So we got the artillery that's eyeballing us right now. And he does end up getting a tiny little bit of hit points out of my vehicle, but that doesn't make the slightest bit of difference whatsoever. So what we're going to do, we're going to mosey on up over here. We got that 4502 off towards the side right over here. I'm going to kind of rely on just going right behind this little ridge right over here because I don't want the artillery to outspot me. Because artillery is freaking stupid for the game in that aspect. So let's see if anybody's going to poke. Well, it looks like that the 4502 got to bounce us apart from that. Oh, we got the CS. Fortunately, not able to spot him. We also got the VK off to the side. Let's see if we can maybe get a slap into his vehicle. Can't really get the best of angles as opposed from him. We got the CS right over there. Oh, that is 700 damage as I swapped over to my double shot. Like, oh my goodness. What a freaking shot right there. That was the prime example right there of using the double barrel shot to the best of your ability. We got that VK right over there, just barely missing his hatch, unfortunately enough. So we're going to reload once again. We got this T49 off to the side right there, just barely missing again. And yeah, this is kind of like an unfortunate outcome for console, is that it kind of takes skill in order to aim your shots properly. To which, as you can see, I cannot pen anything in that aspect. So let's see. We're going to go ahead and reload again. Let's see if any of these guys are willing to poke. Well, somebody did end up spotting me in that aspect, but they only got a glimpse of me for a second as the light bulb indicator has disappeared. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move up just a tiny little bit. Kind of where my Centurion Aver is. Kind of about right here is all right. So let's see. We got this 45 coming on up again. We also got these two enemies over here, too. Got that SD1. I cannot pen him in any way, shape, or form, unfortunately. Got the VK. Let's see if we can maybe get a shot in his hatch. Yeah. So the aiming schematics of this game are actually really weird. It takes skill in order to freaking hit your shots, but apparently we're getting outspotted from the side, which is unfortunate, so we're going to have to move up just a tiny bit. SD1 misses me, which is really good, and we get a glimpse of his lower plate right there. Nice tap into his lower plate right there. All right, so then we're going to reload again. Looks like I am still spotted in that aspect. Looks like it is some vehicles plopped on over to the side who I cannot spot, unfortunately enough, so looks like that we are going to get cooked this game, unfortunately enough. All right, I did get spotted, so backing on up very slowly. Oh, yeah, somebody was off in the back right there, unfortunately enough. So, and I'm still spotted by him, unfortunately enough. So, just I'm going to have to kind of rely on gun depression for the most part. Otherwise, we got the SD1. It looks like he's plopping on out in the open once again. Let's go ahead and fire a double barrel shot. 718 into his vehicle. There's a pretty solid example right there demonstrating this double barrel shot mechanic to the best of our ability right there. And unfortunately, somebody's getting cooked off to the side right there. And it looks like we do have some guys who are literally pecking us off in the back, and we cannot do anything to counter that. Got that 4202 off to the side as well. I'm going to have to wait and see what they're going to have that's going to poke on out towards this little corridor right there. Like this 215 or this 4202. I really hope he's going to come on down. Otherwise, I know that there's somebody else off lurking to the side as well. So I know we got a TD off in our rear, which is going to be unfortunate of an outcome. Ooh, is this 4202 going to come on out? Unfortunately, it looks like he's not. Got the 4502 off to the side too, which it looks like we can get a slap into the side of his vehicle for 388. Beautiful stuff right there. So let's see, he's gonna aim in on us. Let's see if he can get another glimpse of the side. Ooh, and we do light him on fire. Oh yes, beautiful stuff right there. All right, reloading and oh, just bouncing yet again, unfortunately enough. But that's not gonna change the outcome of that, as we're gonna get another bounce into his vehicle. Crazy. All right, well, there's a TD right behind us, so I'm going to go ahead and turn on back over here just in case. Otherwise, there's the enemy 4202 right off to the side right there, too. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of his vehicle. Unfortunately not. I'm really concerned about this TD off to the side, too, and there's, like, not really a thing that I can do in order to counter him or anything like that. Get that 4202. Damn, I'm missing again, unfortunately enough. So let's see what we can do. We got his hatch exposed. I'm really hoping to get a glimpse of his hatch. Fortunately, not the case, so let's see. Oh, thank you, Aver. I would appreciate that. All right, so we got a glimpse of a TD off in the back. It is the T114 Bat, so we're going to back on up very slowly then, as I don't want to get outspotted by this guy. So just going to continue to do that then. Aver is going to try to see he's going to peck off in the base over there. And we do got the TD possibly looking at us, which it looks like it is the case. We're going to fire a double barrel again. 644, and he's out of the game. There we go, baby. I can honestly care less if I die here because we still put up a fairly solid outcome as apart from that. So we're backing up really, really slowly once again. And the base is captured. But hey, we still survived and did 3,400 damage right there. I mean, just a good solid outcome right there. Just demonstrating the double barrel schematics to the best of our ability for the most part. But aiming schematics take skill. And that's pretty much all that there is to it. I would guarantee that we did top on the team in this one in that aspect, which it looks like that we did. We actually did second on the leaderboard in terms of that. We actually did not do top on the team in that aspect. All right, so without further ado, we're going to hop into a game, our second game, pardon me, and let's see what we can do as apart from that. And here we are in game number 2 here on Great Wall. So let's see what they got. VZ55 IS7, VZ166, T32 All Proto, 7032 Pershing, just a whole bunch of freaking nasty vehicles, even a Centurion Aver in that aspect, of course. Because what better would it be without a freaking Centurion 7-1 with a howitzer on it? Of course, which means that we would have one as well. So we're gonna head on over towards the left side of the map, over towards the hill right over here, see what we can do as apart from that. Another popular side that a lot of vehicles like to go is over to the far right side. I mean, both sides are very popular positions, so we're going to kind of see how we can do in that aspect here. As we are loading on into the battle, let's see what we can do. We got our Chieftain coming with us, we got our 176 with rocket boost, yep, and he's moseying, uh-oh. Well, I guess the Chieftain lost his momentum, unfortunately enough, so I'm going to head right on over here. Looks like you have a lot of support coming with us, so just going to head right on through, bloop, bloop. Downhill, this vehicle actually achieves a pretty solid top speed. I mean, look at that. We're outdoing this guy even without his rocket boost. I mean, crazy outcome. So, bloop, 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 bloop. Got a bit of support. Let's see what's coming with us. We got our Eradicator and our AMX 5120 coming with us. Wasting rocket boost, unfortunately enough. The thing about rocket boost is that you only have like a minimum of 4 attempts to activate it, so after those 4 attempts you just can't use it again, unfortunately. So let's just go ahead and mosey our way on up here. Let's see what they would have that's going to be going towards this side of the map. Slowly going up this hill. Blah, 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 blah. Alright, looks like they got their 176, they got their Centurion Aver as well. So let's continue to mosey on forward then, as it looks like that the BZ did get a glimpse of the Aver, so he's going to slap into his hatch for 327. We're going to back on up really slowly as we are still getting outspotted, but there's a scent. We're going to back on up once again, as it looks like that Aver is making a very aggressive maneuver right there. Let's see, we got our Eradicator coming on upward as well. So fortunately, it looks like they have a lot of death over here. So, got the Object 140. He's going to get 721 out of his vehicle real quick. And you know what? We're just going to back all the way up because apparently they have so much death over here that there is nothing we can do to counter this, apparently enough. So, reloading another 2 seconds. We're going to go ahead and fire in on that 140 for a nice tap of 300. All right, backing on up continuously. They got that 176 coming in hot as well. So, we're going to go ahead and slap his vehicle for 336. Continuously back on up moreover. Let's go ahead and see if we can get another slap into this BZ right there. There we go, 330. But it's possibly not going to be the best outcome for our team, as it looks like that we are absolutely fucked in that aspect. So, we got the Sense, 390 out of his vehicle. I'm going to try to see if I can get as much damage out of these enemies as quickly as I can. We got this Pershing right off to the side. Let's get 322 out of his vehicle, and then we're just going to mosey on forward, prevent him from getting the ram, and we do finish him as opposed from that. Going to continuously back on up. We got the Sense, who's making a very aggressive maneuver on me. We're going to get 300 damage out of his vehicle. So, we're going to fire once again into his vehicle again. Alright, absolutely demolishing these enemies right here. As it looks like we basically just brought them down to like smithereens in terms of like how many numbers that they had in that aspect. So we're going to quickly turn our side in case they have more support. Thank you so much, for team, for saving me. Oh my goodness, that is actually really crazy that they lost all their vehicles just because of that. So, all that's left is the enemy VZ up at the top right there. Uh-oh, they got that 140 down below. We do bounce it, but that's totally alright. But it's going to give us enough time to maybe to out-DPM this guy and see if we can maybe get a clear into his vehicle. Just unfortunately missing, but we got this VZ off to the side. Let's go ahead and see what Bro is going to do in that aspect. He's still going to sit up at the top, surprisingly enough. So, yeah, aiming schematics are a little bit weird, especially when it comes to when a tank is basically trying to flank over to your side. So, something to keep in mind in that aspect. I think I might have a chance to maybe get a tap into this VZ in case if he does poke. So what I'm possibly going to do is I'm just going to sit here and wait for him to come on out. Because it looks like I have a light tank off in the back, which it looks like the T-54E1. So, actually, I don't really know what this VZ is planning on doing. So, slowly maneuver myself on upwards. I want to be really careful in that aspect because I never know if he's possibly going to be poking of some sort. Well, it looks like I got my support coming with me, so that's really good. Looks like my guy decides he wants to come and show himself at the last second. That's really good. So, head on up over here. Let's see if we can take care of this enemy VZ right over here. And it looks like that he's not really coming on through here. But the T-41E1 is basically confirming that the VZ... Oh, there he is. Okay, perfect. So, he does try to get a shot. Unfortunately, he does miss, so the VZ is potentially going to YOLO him. But he doesn't realize that I'm here in terms of support. So we're going to get a tap for 354 into his vehicle. And then we're going to reload. And then hopefully I have enough leverage in order to get maybe a clear into this guy right here. We do have the wind as opposed from that. So we're going to mosey on upwards. It looks like that he has one shell remaining in his clip. So what we're going to do, T-41E1 is basically going to take the hit for me. I appreciate that, good sir. So then we're going to head right on over towards this enemy VZ and get 645 out of his vehicle. Unfortunately, he does take one for the team in that aspect, but a very good teammate in that regard. So, got this VZ right there. Another guy gets cleared, so let's go ahead and mosey our way towards the VZ. He does get cleared in that aspect, which is really good. So then we're going to mosey on down towards the remaining enemy, which is going to be lurking right around over here. It is, as a matter of fact, the UDES. And let's get 700 damage out of his vehicle, and then we are going to give him a nice little love tap in that regards. Uh-oh, I just realized that my track was busted, unfortunately enough. Let's see, we're going to reload, and... Okay, bouncing it, but apparently I still get the ram. That's kind of crazy right there. And just like that, that, ladies and gentlemen, is 6,030 damage in a double barrel beast. And that is going to put us first on the leaderboard right there. And that is going to be a first class in that aspect as well. Bruiser, Hand of God, high caliber as well. And an instant top on the team in that aspect. So that is all that she wrote for what this vehicle's deadly capabilities, if you can pen your shots, is basically worth the outcome for. And the good thing about World of Tanks console is that they release new vehicles as apart from a battle pass, and they have this special pass called the season pass that only costs like 6,000 gold, which is about equivalent to $30, but you can instantly just get like 20 level skips and get a free vehicle along with that. That's actually quite worth it, I should say. But it is going to take some time to grind all the way towards the next couple of levels, all the way to level 100, until you get another new vehicle as apart from that. But this is a modern armor vehicle, which basically means that it's going to be in a separate game mode called Cold War. But still, I gotta say, this is a pretty deadly vehicle, and a lot of people that play this game a lot are basically going to be getting it just because, well, it's a free vehicle. Of course, nobody would want to, risk or take advantage of that offer, you know what I'm saying? But hopefully you guys did end up enjoying today's video on the other hand, and if you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And make sure to turn on those bell notifications while you're at it so you do not miss out on any new videos or streams. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out, y'all.